Welcome back. I'm calm, everybody. Don't worry. I've calmed down. Yeah. My poor buddy, the Universal rep, is like this. Oh, God. Anyway, we're keeping the spooky theme going now. Someone else who saw The Exorcist was actually right in front of me at a screening this week. Is a very popular paranormal investigator around the country, known for his popular shows on the Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. Welcome back to our show, our friend Dave Schraeder. Dave Schraeder. Don't know why my voice went up. Okay.
So maybe you're not as over it yet because your voice spiked again.
It did spike again, yeah. You liked it?
I really did. Universal, I enjoyed the movie.
Whatever.
You know what? You got to remember, though, they put this together.
In 5 minutes.
I understand your points, but you have to look at the first one is just the slow build into what's coming next. So I think they've set a good template. I thought the acting was really good.
Leslie Odom Jr. was great. You're right. I forgot to say that. Yes.
And the characterization's decent. It's a little faster because we're in a faster world. People, even now, my kids will watch the original Exorcist and they're like, Dad, this is so slow and boring. This movie is quick. Something's going on constantly. So I see where they're going.
Their lips were chapped after 5 minutes, Dave. Their lips were chapped.
Have you ever been possessed?
I feel like I am right now. Okay. Okay, when we hear... Even when I wrote, because I know you, but I wrote, when we said, coming up, Dave Schraeder, paranormal investigator, what does that really mean to people? I mean, they see it under your name. What does that mean?
Right. Well, there's two terms. Ghost hunter, which, has been the popularized version because of all the TV shows. I'm more of a paranormal investigator. My job is to research the history of the locations, to try to understand the spirits that are there, understand what's affecting the living and the dead, and see if I can bring peace to both sides. So you do that as an investigator by going in, getting the background of the locations, digging deep into the history, and using that knowledge to confront the spirit world.
Because do you believe they're there because they have some unfinished business? That sounds like a cliche, but do you believe that that's part of why they are there, wherever they are?
Yeah, I definitely believe for different reasons. There are so many different aspects of when I did the Holzer Files and Ghosts of Devil's Perch that we remember the heroes. We remember Jason from the Jason Show, but we forget all the poor people working behind the scenes.
The people that work.
These will be the spirits haunting the studio, still looking for that gratification, Jason.
Yeah.
So in history, there are so many people where these towns were built on their blood, sweat, and tears, and we know nothing of them. And a lot of times it's those spirits coming forward that want to be acknowledged. And that's important.
Take us to one of those locations. Talk to me about a location in Illinois.
Oh, okay. So Resurrection Mary is one of the most famous ghosts in history, right? She's a hitchhiking ghost. She has been seen and witnessed by dozens of people through the years. She's shown up at a bar. She'll be out hitchhiking. She gets in the car, tells the directions. As they pass the cemetery, she has been known to fade out or get out of the car and walk into the cemetery. Now, what makes this story so much more than just urban legend is that the police have been called multiple times and have seen things moving around in Resurrection Cemetery. And there was one call that came in they were very vehement. There's a young girl running around in the cemetery in a white dress. And the police are like, okay. They show up. When they're panning their spotlight, they notice that there are two brass poles. The whole thing is surrounded by these brass gates.
Yeah.
Two of the brass gates, there are handprints, small handprints, burned into the metal and pulled the bars apart. They said that there would have had to be around 1,300 degrees to burn their handprints in and pull the gates apart. They tried to clean it up, paint it over. It would cause so much traffic because everybody wanted to see these. They had to take those bars out and replace them. And the photographs exist online. You can actually see the original bars from Resurrection Cemetery. But this young girl, who they believe was a young Polish girl who had passed away, tragically just has not given up her love of dance and wanting to be out, and she shows up at these little clubs.
That's her way of showing her love of dance?
Yeah, well, and when she's got to get back home, pull the gates open. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. When we come back, do we have time? Should we have let's talk about Joliet.
All right, Joliet State Prison. I'd heard all the hype. I went there finally last year to start doing investigations. completely blown away.
This is a state prison?
Yes, it is a former state prison that is shut down. And in Joliet State Prison, there was shadow people. There were DVP, direct voice phenomena. While we were standing there, you could hear voices calling out. We got EVP, electronic voice phenomena, shadow figures, doppelgangers. As a matter of fact, at one point, we're standing outside one of the cells and I'm waiting for my group to come to go in and ghost hunt. My son is standing there with me and we start hearing whistling inside the cell. And he goes, oh, they must have beat us in there. I'll go in and check. He comes scooting back out and he's like, there's nobody there. There's nobody there. And we could hear it. So we all go in and one of the security guards is with us and all of a sudden he goes, shh. And we could hear talking upstairs in the completely abandoned, locked off part. So he calls security to come. They charge up there to check to make sure nobody broke in and is in the wing they're not supposed to be in. It's completely clear. They all come down, they're like, it's fine. And then above us on the planks, you just start hearing walking above us.
No,
Yeah,
out. I'd be
yeah.
gone. Out. Dave isn't going anywhere. After the break, more on his ghostly investigations into haunted spots here in Minnesota and Florida when we come back. Scary Florida. Right, Orlando? Welcome back. We're back with Paranormal investigator Dave Schraeder, talking about his experiences in haunted places across the country. Let's go. I mentioned Florida, but let's first go to Washington. Where are we going? Kel's Pub.
Yeah, I actually had a chance to go out there. It's this Irish pub that's backed up against another building, and we did an investigation there with the Ghost Adventures crew, Travel Channel, Discovery Channel's TV premiere show, and we had so much activity and footsteps running up and down the stairs while there was 6 of us in there, and you could hear footsteps charging up and down the stairs. At one point, when we were standing there getting ready before one of the big ghost hunts, very clearly this female figure leans around the corner and looks at us, and we all looked at each other and were like, who got in here? Went around, there's nobody there. There was no place for that person to have gone that you couldn't have heard their footfalls.
Nope. Again, out.
Yeah.
Out. Okay, let's move to Sauk. So that was in Seattle. Let's move back home to Sauk Center, Minnesota, the Palmer House Hotel.
Yes. Yeah, one of my favorite haunts in the state. It is amazing. There is such a rich history there, and it is so diverse in the type of paranormal activity that's taken place. And I have never been let down, but that is one of the locations I had one of the scariest moments. We were down in the basement in the door room, they call it, and we were doing a scrying session. And this woman, we're supposed to do these scrying sessions by herself. It's kind of an experiment in opening yourself up. And she wanted to do it, but she was afraid to go alone. So I reluctantly went in with her. I kind of sat below her while she was up on the dais looking in the mirror. And as we're just kind of letting the darkness happen and settle in there, all of a sudden in the mirror, I see something moving, and this little kid's face pokes up from the oval beveled mirror. And she goes, oh, are you seeing that? I said, oh yeah, I'm seeing that. And I'm the big bad ghost hunter, right? And I'm all, yeah, I'm seeing it, nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to maintain my coolness. This is terrifying. The kid didn't do anything scary, but it was weird. And after,
No, it's a kid in a mirror.
Right.
Yeah, it's freaky.
I get done and I kind of take off my glasses and I look into the inky darkness of the basement. I'm just trying to process it. When I turn back around, I notice how dark her shadow is behind her. And I'm like, that's weird because there's a light in front of her. Her shadow should be on the wall. So I lean forward and her shadow bends down and looks me in the eyes. And then stands back up behind her. Yeah.
Again, bye.
Yeah.
I'm not, yeah. Okay, let's move to Sarasota, a house. Is this just, I shouldn't say just a house, a house in Sarasota?
I did an investigation there. We had been called in because the father was not a believer. Just like every horror movie, right? The guy's like, they're being overreactive. And the woman believed that their baby, their infant's room had another presence in there. He wasn't hearing it. He went out, and this is what made them finally call and ask for an investigation. Begrudgingly, he grabbed her big sage stick and lit it, okay? And what you're supposed to do is you light the sage stick, let it burn for a few seconds, you blow it out, and then it just slowly burns and you're using the smoke. He didn't know what he was doing. He lights it and he's got it in there like a torch and he's swinging it around in the room and he's like, oh no, we're clearing it out, honey, don't worry. She goes, that's not how you do it. And when he stops moving his arm, this face comes out of the smoke and blows the flame out for them. And then he was like, all right, yeah, maybe there's something here. So that's when they called us in to do an investigation. We ended up finding out that the former owner, an elderly man, that was his little workspace area, and that's where he liked to be. And he was of no danger to the child. The only time he'd get loud is when the kid started making a lot of racket in his room. And then he would bang on doors and windows and try to get your attention. Yeah. It's all in your perspective. It's like going to see The Exorcist Believer and thinking it's bad when it's really good. I try to look at the positive side of these experiences.
This clip will be sent to Universal. Yeah.
And that's Dave Schraeder, Universal Dave Schraeder.
That's right, yeah. I just want it to be better anyway. Really quick, you have a couple, well, let me just tell you this. Give it up for Dave, everybody. Check out his podcast, The Paranormal 60. You can follow Dave on Instagram at official Dave Schraeder. You'll get info. You have an event coming up locally at the Lexington. It's a restaurant, very haunted.
October 30th, we just did a paranormal investigation there this last Tuesday and had so much activity in the few hours we were there. We're putting it together into a presentation. You can actually join us at the Lexington in St. Paul. It's hors d'oeuvres, drinks, and a presentation on what we were able to actually capture and experience while we were there. So you can get information at the Lexington's website.
And I've been in that place at night. It's scary. I'm just telling you. Give it up for Dave one more time. We'll be back to wrap things up when we return. Back in a moment. Thank you, buddy. Oh, boom.